everyone. Welcome to today's Makeup and Morbidness, where we do our makeup and talk about death. We're your hosts, Jessica.
I'm Nate.
And I'm Mike.
And I know a lot of people like to know what the makeup we're using. However, I don't have a listing for our makeup today. The guys' makeup is brought to them by Michaels, but they're not a sponsor. However, Michaels, if you want to be a sponsor, we will totally do so many arts and crafts for you.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of sponsors, we do have a sponsor of Random Useless Stuff.
I love everything they do.
The monthly subscription box of Random Useless Stuff. And they brought us a box. So let's go and see what's in this month's box for us. Because again, everyone gets their own box of Random Useless Stuff.
Every time one shows up, it's like a unicorn exploded in the room. It's amazing.
Yes, let's see what we got this month. Ooh. We have a plastic skull.
I love it.
It's so fitting for the show. We'll just put it right out here.
I love the fact that that is random and it's exactly what we need.
Right?
We have a very small child sock. Just one.
Just one.
Just one.
Oh, a slightly larger child sock that in no way matches.
But once again, only one.
They grow so quickly.
Ooh, this one, this might fit an adult, but again, I only see one.
Just a random sock.
With very tiny feet.
Oh, we have a skull dog.
Once again, this is a fantastic thing. It's just the right thing for the set.
I love it.
Oh, a wind-up Abraham Lincoln.
You know, this is going to sound trite, but I have always wanted one of these.
And it's just so delightfully perverse that he's mostly head.
Mm-hmm. Pre-tangled tangle of rosaries.
Because I keep my rosaries so neat and organized, I never deal with the good old-fashioned tangle that you get. Mm-hmm. I miss it sometimes.
And this time of Lent, it can be a nice little, personal penance kind of a thing to go and untangle all your rosaries.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Lent, for the 1 week that we're happy, rose-colored glasses.
Wow.
I'll take those.
And look, there are two different wires. This one appears to be
Yeah.
micro to AV, and that one appears to be an old-fashioned telephone wire.
Yep. Random cables, always a good thing.
Oh, we have lots of dice. Look at this. There's like 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, a dozen dice.
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Oh, speaking of pre-knotted stuff, we have rubber bands pre-knotted.
Who doesn't need more of those? Random useless stuff it's an injection of joy into your day.
Some stickers.
Huh.
Appears to be 5 tater tots made of plastic.
Plastic tater tots, okay.
How fun.
Oh, name tags. Next show we can have name tags.
Ooh.
One that gets googly eyes.
How would I know who I am without a name tag?
This one actually isn't useless because this is a hair tie, so I'll just...
Look at that.
Just because it's remember, just because something is useless to just because somebody else is just because something is useless to somebody else doesn't mean it is a useless thing.
Well, again, it's a fun, self-depreciating name.
It is. Yeah, this is
Random useless stuff.
Yes, I mean, you do fill out their 1,000 question survey to have, somewhat personalized things. So you always have at least 1 to 2 items that you actually like.
Like with the skull and the cat.
And the tater tots.
And the tater tots.
I think these ones are for you.
Okay.
For Mike, we have World Trivia and Junior Jeopardy, both for IBM PC, EXAT, and compatible that take a 3.5 disc.
That is fantastic. As a longtime Mac user, these are exactly what I need.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we also have 2 dinosaurs to add to our collection.
All right, more plastic dinosaurs.
A porcupine that appears to have a mustache.
Appears to have a mustache.
A tiny paparazzi and a very small turtle. A candle. And one of the fidgets.
Oh.
So many things.
Can never have too many fidgets around this house.
This is just... It's a ray of sunshine every time it arrives.
So go to the website, click the link to sign up. Make sure you make sure you answer all 1,000 questions.
It seems like a lot, but trust me, those hours just fly by.
Yep.
And when you get to checkout, remember to include the code Morbidness
for 10% off your subscription.
Yeah, listen. We want to help you guys. I argued for 11. It's so random, but 10 is standard.
Yep. And put that to the side.
And we'll put that to the side.
So, now on to our episode and our doing of our makeup. I want to warn people, we will be discussing death, decay, and death-related things during this episode.
It's so delightfully morbid.
Mm-hmm. As many of you know, death is many times in the Bible. For example, in Hebrews 9:27, it says, "It is appointed upon men once to die, and after that the judgment." Now, we will of course be discussing the judgment some other time, but today we're going over the death for your body.
Yeah. Today the focus is on death here on Makeup and Morbidness. For judgment, you'll have to be patient and wait for next week.
Mm-hmm.
Or go find it somewhere else. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people talking about judgment.
Oh, there are lots of judgy people on the internet. And also lots of people who don't have glasses, so they can read their notes without doing their makeup.
They think they're so fancy.
So, first, of course, there's the issue of actually dying. So, do you guys know what it means to be dying? To die?
I believe that is the cessation of life.
Yes, but what is that?
When your soul is separated from your body?
That is correct, however, not a very good clinical thing.
True. True.
I mean, there was that one guy that tried going and measuring the soul and thought it weighed like 7 grams or something.
Mm-hmm,
but
so when your life supporting bodily functions cease.
Yes. Different states and countries have different exact definitions for what is dead, and it's, of course, always evolving. However, generally, it's agreed that things that result in someone being dead is if you are not breathing, if your heart is not beating, and if you have no electrical activity in your brain, including the brainstem. Multiple ones noted the brainstem, so I assume that is, the default argument of what it is.
Well, here we're talking about the hierarchy of needs. Mm-hmm. Without food, you can live for a few weeks. Without water, you can live for a few days. Without air, you're only going to live a few minutes.
Yes. All right. Immediately upon death, what happens is called primary flaccidity, which is where all muscles relax, which is how you get the saying of dead weight. The weight of a dead person literally feels different than if you were carrying around a sleeping person or an unconscious person, because absolutely every muscle is relaxed.
That is fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Within minutes, parlor mortis starts, which is where the blood drains from the small veins into the skin, causing paleness, which, of course, depending on the person's ethnic heritage, can be more or less obvious.
Mm-hmm.
There's been times when I've been sick and people are like, "You are pale," and I'm like, "I am always pale." This one is not colorless, but no, this one is colorless.
It's true. She is pale. But not like death pale.
Yes, but death pale is even paler. After that, the mortis, or death chill, happens.
Ooh.
And that is where the body slowly chills down to whatever the room temp is. Mm-hmm. And although it depends on exactly what factors are going on, the temp outs, wherever they're at, the situation they're in, if they're in water will affect them more and stuff. But by and large, the body chills at about 1.5 Fahrenheit per hour going down. Now, decomp starts almost immediately with what is called alitosis, which usually starts in the liver and the brain. And
interesting.
It seems interesting, but it literally means like self-eating, because your immune system breaks down because it's no longer protecting your body from all the things that are in your body.
So your immune system turns on you?
Well, it just kind of stops, and then the fact that a human body is a large percent bacteria goes into effect. Gravity then causes pooling in the blood areas that are closest to the ground. That's called liver mortis. Mm-hmm. And if it's a case of a true crime, that's super helpful because you can see exactly how the body was laying down near the time in which they died. You know, like, it's not an immediate death thing, but...
You can tell if the body's been significantly moved.
Yes.
Because, well, the blood pooled in a way that it wouldn't if it was in this position.
Yes. And the next thing that happens is, of course, what everyone knows out of all the mortises.
Mm-hmm. Rigor.
Mm-hmm.
That is the famous one.
Who doesn't love some nice rigor mortis? I mean,
this is the one you always see in the movies.
Yes.
On TV.
Yeah.
That tends to start between 2 and 6 hours from death. There are, slight, again, depending on exactly how the body is laying and treated and stuff, how it affects things. It starts in the eyelids, jaws, and the neck, and then moves down.
I would never have thought. The eyelids, really?
Yeah. It's something that because it's completely not, an active thing, it does, all of the muscles. Mm-hmm. And, what happens is the protein filaments lock in place. After about 12 hours from when it started, rigor mortis will be after it at its maximum. And after this second...
Our apologies for our puppy. She desires attention.
Second... Do you want to...
Flaccidity.
Yes, will start happening and complete in 1 to 3 days in reverse order from rigor happening.
Flaccid, not what you want to be.
Well, I mean, when you're dead, it kind of is.
That's fair.
Now, this is how it happens normally. However, quite often, if there's a extreme case where like someone died a tragic and violent death, they do not have rigor mortis starting at that time. They already were in a form of rigor that's called a cadaver spasm or post-mortem spasm or instantaneous rigor.
Instantaneous rigor.
This is completely different than rigor mortis because it is only the muscles that you are actively able to control in your life. And it will be situations like, say you were drowning in a river and you were trying to grab a tree to hold on. Mm-hmm. They found the bodies of the drowned victims still holding the tree.
It's like you've got kung fu grip.
Yes.
Well, that sounds fun. That sounds interesting.
Although, you don't want to be a G.I. Joe.
Yes. So, although I've made it my point to never watch Titanic, I believe Jack is apparently frozen solid on the
on the headboard, the headboard
totally
of the door
was big enough to hold both of them.
Totally would have hit both of them.
However, he would not have frozen solid because even in icy water, you're gonna freeze faster than the rate of 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit per hour. But it's not going to be instantaneous, so that would most likely be a case of instantaneous rigor.
Bad science from James Cameron. Color me shocked.
I mean, it's something that even the scientific ones that study it are kind of... Some of them are like, "This, we have no proof that this happens," and other ones are like, "Yeah, it totally happens because we've seen it happen." So, and unlike rigor mortis, this is something that they're kind of stuck with. Like for rigor mortis, because it is the protein sticking together. Apparently, when you work in a morgue, you learn how to go and actually break rigor if need be.
Yep.
And once you break rigor, it's broken. You don't have to worry about it like re-sticking
together. It won't re-rigor?
Yeah.
Huh.
However, instantaneous rigor does not work that way because it's not the proteins joined together.
This totally makes sense because they're always able to pose the body in a peaceful way.
Now, at this point, in most people who live, in the first world, you've got to taken to a funeral parlor or dealt with in some way.
Long gone are the days where you would just take care of your own in the parlor.
So I'm sidetracking to embalming or cremation.
Ooh.
Now, embalming was a process that became popular in America during the Civil War because there was, all the people who were fighting who then got sent to, different places and died on the battlefield.
And people who died very far from home.
Yes, to take them there. And early embalming, it's hilarious watching all the, advertisements they do in the catalogs for morticians, because every single method was a secret formula.
Well, everybody had his own brand of snake oil.
Yep. No one had just like this agreed upon thing. It was all their own special thing. So in modern embalming, they still do various formulas depending on how long they need the body embalmed for. And there'll be slight changes in exactly what mix of chemicals they use, just because the chemicals quite often have coloration on them. Ooh. So because once you lose your blood, you get pale. Mm-hmm. They'll have various levels that, attempt to make it a more lifelike looking one.
Oh, the irony.
And interesting thing for embalming, basically how it works is you're going to remove the blood in one's body and replace it with the chemical mixture. Now, part of this is done by just actually, taking the veins, removing the blood in it, and pushing through the compound. Mm-hmm. Another part of it is because your internal organs are filled with lots of wet, gooey things that easily get,
It's going to start to decompose. It's going to start to swell.
Yes.
Gases will build up.
They take something called a trocher to drain the organs out, and also, then put some embalming fluid in there.
How exotic, a trocher.
Mm-hmm. Trocher. It almost sounds like a fancy piece of jewelry or something. Like a choker.
Like a choker.
Yep. For cremation, the average adult takes about 90 minutes to be cremated. It's done in temperatures that are extremely high. I believe it's around 900 Fahrenheit.
So not what you can do in your home oven.
No. Actually, early attempts at cremation did not work, in part because they just could not get things hot enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Burning bodies, not that I've ever tried, but from what I've heard, takes a lot more energy and work than most people would ever really think.
And
more than watching Supernatural would lead you to believe.
Right.
Yes, and before cremating a body, they remove multiple different types of, if you had things in your body like a pacemaker, because a pacemaker will explode.
Yes, you don't want that.
Things like if they got a replacement hip can be, just removed afterwards.
Just picked out of the ashes.
Yes. And the ashes are not, of course, actually ashes, but they're bones and minerals from the body.
How delightfully morbid.
Yes.
The consistency.
Well, some of it is very fine, and some of it is still in slightly chunks. Like, it won't be like a full femur.
But
they'll break up.
Like gravel?
Sometimes bigger than that, but they have something called a cremorial? No, a cremator. Essentially,
a cremulator, which is like a blender. Right? They throw the bone chunks in and they grind them to dust.
How delightfully morbid.
Yes.
This is our people blender.
Yay! I mean, they don't use it for anything else.
Well, that's why it's a people blender. You're not making daiquiris in this.
No. But without any of these things, between 4 and 8 days, bloat starts as the process of decomp goes from being a aerobic bacteria attacking the body to anaerobic bacteria working. This leads to putrefaction, then active decay, and then finally skeletonization, which takes a year or more depending on the exact conditions of where the body is placed, things around it, and so forth.
Okay.
And finally, as we learned from Genesis 3:19, the skeleton breaks down to dust because
remember that you are dust, and to dust you shall return.
So what did you do today for your makeup?
I'm a kitty.
Okay, how about you?
I went for more of a Dee Snider war paint look. I've got a little bit of Braveheart.
Mm-hmm.
I went for a colors of body decomp look. Some greens, some blues, some purples, little pinks.
That would explain the fact that your eyes look like they have a little bit of bruising around them.
Mm-hmm.
You, in the best possible way, you do look like a corpse.
Thank you.
Such a beautiful
Mm-hmm.
corpse.
You would make a beautiful corpse.
She will.
Will, yes. Because death comes for us all.
So, stay tuned for next time. We'll be talking, as we talked about what happens to the body. Next time we'll be talking about the soul after death.
Ooh.
Yes. That fun video on judgment.
Seems very judgy.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Well, that actually, thankfully, there will be no judgment in the judgment video.
How about that?
Judgment-free zone. Go down below and tell us what you think of our makeup. Tell us what you think about death. Maybe suggest some other topics that we could do makeup tutorials too. Perhaps next time we'll have Mike lead one. He can tell us about, his process.
Or the life of Benedict the Ninth.
The life of Benedict the Ninth.
He was such a rascal.
He was. Go down while you're down there. Make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button and the bell next to it so you get notified when new episodes come out. Make sure you go visit our sponsor for today, Random Useless Stuff. Don't forget that. Don't forget the coupon code Morbidness. And until next time, remember to live your faith.
Love your faith.
And share that love.